Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi hosts Sudanese Sovereign Council Chairman Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in Cairo. Egypt addresses the ICJ condemning Israel's denial of Palestinian self-determination and urging UN member states to recognize their rights. And the Ministry of Finance announces a reduction in Egypt's budget deficit for the first 8 months of the fiscal year 2024-2025. Sudanese Sovereign Council Chairman Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has arrived in Cairo for high-level discussions with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. They emphasized Egypt's commitment to supporting Sudan's reconstruction and stability, highlighting initiatives to unify Sudanese factions and expedite humanitarian aid. They also addressed regional security concerns, including developments in the Gaza Strip and the necessity of safeguarding our water resources. Both parties reaffirmed their dedication to collaborative efforts aimed at restoring peace and bolstering bilateral cooperation. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has spoken with the Gabonese president, congratulating him on his victory in Gabon's presidential elections. President al-Sisi praised the elections as a crucial step in the country's transition and a reflection of the people's trust in their leadership. The conversation also focused on enhancing bilateral cooperation between Egypt and Gabon, emphasizing Egypt's commitment to supporting Gabon's development and strengthening economic and investment ties between the two nations. Egypt has addressed the International Court of Justice in ongoing hearings regarding Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. The Egyptian representative emphasized Israel's denial of the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and urged UN member states to recognize their rights. Egypt also called on Israel to guarantee the rights of humanitarian organizations in Gaza and criticized the Knesset for taking decisions to prevent and criminalize UNRWA's work. Despite these challenges, Egypt highlighted that UNRWA continues to provide vital humanitarian assistance to Palestinian refugees, especially in displaced tents. Additionally, Egypt reaffirmed that international law grants Palestinian refugees the right to return. The Egyptian representative of the United Nations has condemned Israel's actions in Gaza, describing them as a collective punishment. She highlighted Israel's use of hunger as a weapon of war, further stating that Israel intends to force Gaza's residents into displacement. The representative emphasized Israel's choice imposed on Gaza's population, either face bombardment and death or be forced to leave. She also pointed out that Israel's actions in both Gaza and the West Bank undermine the two-state solution. Egypt has extended its condolences to the government and people of Canada following the tragic car ramming attack in Vancouver, which claimed the lives of several individuals. In a statement released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian expatriates, Egypt expressed its heartfelt solidarity with Canada during this difficult time and wished a swift recovery to the injured. The attack, which occurred during a Filipino heritage festival in Vancouver, resulted in the death of at least 11 and left 20 injured. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has emphasized the strength of strategic relations between Egypt and Germany at the political, economic, trade and investment levels. Madbouli discussed bilateral relations with German Ambassador to Egypt Jürgen Scholz, emphasizing Egypt's commitment to strengthening economic ties with Germany. He highlighted the goal of increasing trade, exports and German investments in Egypt. The Prime Minister also expressed hope for Germany's support on key issues in international bodies, especially within the EU. He stressed the importance of Germany's backing for the approval and disbursement of a second tranche of the €4 billion European financial support package for Egypt, with tripartite consultations set for May on the matter. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Expatriates Badr Abdulati has reaffirmed Egypt's firm rejection of any attempts to forcibly displace Palestinians. During a national dialogue session with political leaders and public figures, the top diplomat stressed Egypt's support for a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine. Abdulati noted that the progress in Egypt's human rights status following the recent Universal Periodic Review at the UN, underlining the role of the national dialogue in enhancing political participation. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Immigration and Egyptian Expatriates Badr Abdulati has affirmed Egypt's aspirations to elevate relations with the United Kingdom across political, economic and investment fields. During a phone call with the UK National Security Advisor Jonathan Powell, the two sides discussed enhancing bilateral relations and exchanged views on regional issues, particularly the Palestinian situation. Abdulati outlined Egypt's efforts to resume the Gaza ceasefire and initiate the second phase of the agreement. He emphasized the importance of ensuring humanitarian aid reaches Gaza and briefed Powell on Egypt's ongoing efforts to host an international conference on early recovery and reconstruction in Gaza in cooperation with the United Nations and the Palestinian government. Egypt has received the presidency of the Council of Ministers of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AfCFTA, succeeding Tanzania during the 16th meeting of the Council held in Kinshasa, Congo. Egypt's assumption of the AfCFTA presidency affirms its leading role in advancing African economic integration. Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade, Hassan al-Khatib, stressed Egypt's commitment to activating and accelerating the AfCFTA, urging swift resolution of technical negotiations, especially on rules of origin in key sectors like clothing and automobiles. He also proposed hosting a ministerial session in Egypt to finalize outstanding issues and called for a short-term roadmap to deliver tangible results. Khatib reaffirmed Egypt's dedication to the agreement through active participation in negotiations, contribution to tariff schedules and promotion of intra-African trade. Egypt's current chairmanship of the Council of Ministers of Trade reflects its long-standing support for AfCFTA and related initiatives. The Egyptian Armed Forces have organized a visit for a delegation of African ambassadors to the Armed Forces Gadet Medical Complex. The visit aimed to showcase the advanced medical capabilities of the facility in collaboration with the African Dream Foundation. The delegation watched a documentary highlighting the complex's role in providing exceptional medical services to both military personnel and civilians. The visit aligned with the directive of Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's boost to medical tourism, emphasizing Egypt's strong ties with African nations in healthcare. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has expressed appreciation for the significant efforts behind the establishment and operation of national projects led by the Future of Egypt for Sustainable Development Agency. Prime Minister Madbouli toured the New Delta's Tahya Masr Access, accompanied by senior officials. He visited agricultural sites using advanced machinery for wheat harvesting and reviewed methods to reduce import reliance. Madboudi also inspected infrastructure projects including pumping stations, electrical substations and irrigation systems. He visited grain silos, a potato processing factory, feed plant and cold storage units to boost storage processing capacity. The visit concluded with a meeting with the Future of Egypt agency staff and the project advisory team. Egyptian Armed Forces have signed a collaboration agreement with the Supreme Council of Universities aiming to exchange scientific expertise and support research activities. The director of the Military Academy for Higher Studies and Strategy signed the protocol with the Secretary General of the Supreme Council. The agreement focuses on strategic studies, national security, crisis management, and academic exchange. It also facilitates access to scientific libraries for researchers from both sides. Egyptian Minister of Labour Mohammed Gibran has announced that Thursday, May 1st, 2025 will be an official paid holiday on the occasion of Labour Day for private sector workers subject to the provision of the labour law. The ministry issued Circular Number 9 of 2025 granting workers covered Labour Law Number 12 of the 2023 official paid holiday in observance of Labour Day. This decision is in accordance to Article 52 of the Labour Law Number 12 of 2023, which grants private sector workers the right to be fully paid leave on official holidays and occasions designated by a decision from the Ministry of Labour. It also aligns with the decision number 49/2009 issued by the Minister of Manpower, which outlines the official holidays considered fully paid leave for workers. The Ministry of Finance has announced a reduction in Egypt's overall budget deficit during the first 8 months of the financial year 2024-2025, covering the period from July to February. According to the ministry, the overall deficit stood at 879.3 billion Egyptian pounds, equivalent to 5.1% of GDP, compared to 898 billion Egyptian pounds or 6.5% of GDP during the same period last year. On a report released today, the ministry also noted a significant increase in primary surplus, which rose by approximately 137 billion Egyptian pounds to reach 330 billion Egyptian pounds, equivalent to 1.9% of GDP, up from 193 billion Egyptian pounds or 1.4% of GDP during the same period of the previous fiscal year. Moreover, the Ministry of Finance has announced that Egypt's tax revenue recorded a significant increase of 38.4%, equivalent to 342.4 billion Egyptian pounds during the period from July to February of the financial year 2024-2025. Total tax revenues reached 1.234 trillion Egyptian pounds compared to 892 billion Egyptian pounds during the same period last year. The ministry attributed the rise to the comprehensive growth across all types of tax collections, driven by the recovery of economic activity, the resolution of the foreign currency shortage, and the digitalization of tax systems, which improved the tax administration and broadened the tax base. Chairman of the Union of Arab Banks, Mohammed al-Tribi, has announced that Hassan Abdullah, Governor of the Central Bank of Egypt, has been awarded the Governor of the Year for 2025. The announcement came during al-Tribi's speech at the 2025 Arab Banking Conference in Cairo, themed partnership between the public and private sectors to finance the economy. Al-Tribi stated that the award will be presented to Governor Abdullah during the opening session of the Arab Banking event in Paris on June 20th. Egyptian football superstar Mohamed Salah has led Liverpool to their 20th Premier League title in the 2024-2025 season. Salah contributed a goal in Liverpool's 5-1 victory over Tottenham. Liverpool now has 82 points, leading the table. Salah's goal came in the 63rd minute with a powerful shot. Salah's total in the 2024-2025 Premier League season reached 28 goals. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here's what we've been covering. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi hosts Sudanese Sovereign Council Chairman Abdel Fattah al-Burhan in Cairo. Egypt addresses the ICJ, condemning Israel's denial of Palestinian self-determination and urging UN member states to recognize their rights. And the Ministry of Finance announces a reduction in Egypt's budget deficit for the first 8 months of the fiscal year 2024-2025. That's all for now. Remember to stay updated by following Qnews for the latest developments.